Dead Draw Gaming. Like no one ever was.
What is up, Madison Regionals? We are back. My name is Alex Pullman. This is Patrick.
What's up?
Just finished lunch. How was your lunch?
I had a sausage pizza.
Nice.
Yeah. What
Was it
about
good?
you?
We went to this cool Mexican place downtown.
really?
I forget the name. I got 3 tacos, some rice and beans. It was good.
That sounds awesome.
I forget the name of the place though. It was really good. I highly recommend it if you ever find the name. It was right by that Starbucks.
Also, the farmers market outside, amazing. Like they have this like hot cheesy bread, which everyone highly recommends. Haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I'm planning on.
So it's looking like for this round 5 post lunch, we got Ashton Cox and Max Simon. Ashton Cox, very well known player.
Very true, very true.
Bank in the CP, and then we have Max Simon. This will be his first time being on stream. He seems super excited about it, which I'm happy to hear.
All right, so any ideas? Like, what do you think they're going to be bringing to the table, or?
I've been hearing about a Rotom Heat. That sounds super interesting. We saw Rotom Heat last game 2 on stream.
Very true.
On Gavin Michaels' side.
Yeah.
And pretty good mod. It's super versatile.
That's true. I mean, like, I'm used to seeing Rotom Wash all the time, so seeing Rotom Heat is a nice change of pace.
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Where's Rotom flying though?
I mean,
Legend.
You gotta give it that what do you call it? Give it a focus sash, because if I don't know what I'm saying. If it goes up against a mold breaker mod, still can't earthquake it.
Dude, I could go for a Rotom flying. It's a little warm over here.
That is very true, yeah. Got my sleeves all rolled up too, so
Yeah.
I'm ready.
No, I'm all good. We should be taking you guys to team preview real soon.
All right. Looks like we're just
But so
getting
far,
started.
This event has been incredible. I was saying earlier, this venue's gorgeous. It's on the lake. You can't ask for much more.
All right, so looks like you guys are getting a pretty good look at the teams right now. Max Simon rocking Incineroar, Bulu, Gengar, Togedemaru, Charizard, and Komodo. And meanwhile, Ashton Cox has Drifblim, Tapu Lele, Landers Therian, Metagross, Amoonguss, and Rotom Heat.
Very nice. So we saw a lot of Drifblim Lele in 17. It had like a whole month of dominance, and then it kind of became a niche team. And in 18, I think it's very unexplored, and it can get the job done.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Now, we do see the Komodo on Max's side, so it's a very highly offensive mod, and there is no double fairy on Ashton's side, so it is most likely that Max will be able to get the Komodo EMZ off. Definitely.
And I'm wondering just how well Drifblim can fare against Gengar, because once it does use Unburden to ingest its Psychic Seed, it will outspeed that Mega Gengar, and we could see some possibly big damage.
That's very true, especially Drifblim is a very utility mod with a very high HP set and really good speed. It can learn stuff like Shadow Ball, Icy Wind, Tailwind. It can also learn Sunny Day as well as Rain Dance. So it can be used for pretty much anything.
Definitely. I do think he will make use of Amoonguss in this matchup. A little bit of redirection to preserve his offensive threats, because he does have these niche support mons in his team, like I was mentioning.
That's very true. Also, the Spore to maybe put the Komodo to sleep after it fires off a Komodo EMZ, just so Ashton Cox can probably get a handle and try and knock it out.
Most definitely. And yeah, the 2 terrains that affect sleep aren't prevalent right now, so it can really run rampant with Spore if it wants to.
That's very, very true. Now, we do see that the Tapu Bulu is there, and so we have the question, is this a physical or special Landers? Because if it's physical, its Earthquake won't be doing as much.
Definitely.
So here we are heading into team preview. I would say we're probably going to get either Togedemaru or Incineroar lead from Max's side, just to have a really good fake out pressure, or possibly Mega Gengar just to trap anything in.
Well, he doesn't have, as long as he can answer that Lele with something like Gengar, then he can lead very safely with the Mega Gengar Komodo lead.
Very true.
Doesn't have the fairy resists, and if he can really get that momentum going early, he will snowball throughout this match.
Yeah, yes. So, I mean, for Max, one of the big priorities is getting that Komoyam Z off, and it does look like he's running the dual Mega with Charizard and Gengar. So we have the question, could this possibly, though highly unlikely, be Charizard X that he's running, or is it just Charizard Y?
Definitely. And will he intercept that Komo Gengar lead with possibly that Drifblim Lele we were mentioning?
That's very true, but we do have to be wary that there is a Bulu in the back, so he could just swap it in and erase the Psychic Terrain so he can freely fake out.
Definitely.
Alright.
And we're getting right into it. Brazil money, baby.
Alright, we see Bulu and Charizard coming out from Max Simon's side. And we'll see the Drifblim Lele coming out from Ashton Cox.
Very nice.
We see Bulu's Grassy Surge going out, so it is very possible that that is a Scarf Bulu.
That's very safe to assume. These leads are very neutral towards each other. No one can make really big plays right now, but they will both probably play passively to start things off and really test the waters to see what both players plan on doing.
That's very true. I am predicting that we will see Tailwinds going off on this turn just to try and gain the speed advantage and try and get as much information as possible.
Definitely. And once that Tailwind's off, you can just start clicking buttons, giving you position your Pokemon well enough.
That's very true. And if that is Scarf Bulu, it will probably go for a Rock Slide here, trying to get as much damage off onto that Drifblim. Hopefully knocking out before it could probably take, set up anything for Ashton's side.
Definitely. We may opt for a switch too.
Very true. We see the Charizard. It's Mega Charizard Y. It's gonna be setting up the drought for the rest of Max's team, powering up any fire type moves that Charizard or Incineroar may have.
I do foresee a Lando switch coming eventually because he does handle both of these Pokemon very well.
All right, we see the Protect coming out from Lele, and a Rain Dance coming out from Drifblim, erasing the sun. Very, very interesting.
Something we saw so much in VGC 17.
Yeah, Drifblim, a very versatile Pokemon, especially with its high speed. We see a Wood Hammer going into the Tapu Lele slot, and the Tailwind coming out from Max's side. Now
Bulu is back overspeeding things again.
Yeah, I do think Max may have the slight edge here because he can just swap out his Charizard to preserve the sun and probably fire off another Wood Hammer as well.
Definitely. And it may come down to what those other slots on that Drifblim are.
Yeah. We may see Ashton's Lele swap out into something along the lines of maybe a Moongus or Landorus to resist the hit or get the Intimidate off and probably weaken the Tapu Bulu.
Amoonguss does laugh at these two Pokemon in the rain.
And we see Rotom Heat coming out, threatening that the Tapu Bulu with its fire attacks, and we see Woodhammer not doing too much, maybe about 30-35%, and an Air Slash.
Definitely a 3-hit.
An Air Slash coming out from
huge.
Charizard.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Air Slash, a move you don't see too often on Charizard, but it is an excellent pick for a good amount of coverage in this format.
Very true. You being able to hit like many grass types when they change the weather on you is very, very crucial as well.
Most definitely.
All right.
And because so many people pair those rain leads with Amoonguss, it's such a good option.
That is very, very true.
And who doesn't love a good flinch, am I right?
All right, we see the Tapu Bulu switching out, most likely to reset the terrain later on. We see Incineroar come out to resist any fire-type attacks that Rotom may throw into that slot. Intimidate not doing too much here due to Ashton's side being only special attackers. And we see Charizard swapping out into Komodo.
The myth, the legend, having that clangorous Soul Blaze that is so, so hot right now.
And we get Landers coming out, getting its Intimidate onto Incineroar. Very, very crucial.
That's really good. Like I said, it would have been a good switch in against the Bulu Zard, but this is just as good.
The Shadow Ball coming out from Drifblim, going into the Komodo slot, dealing a really decent amount of damage before it can fire off any Z move. Now, Incineroar does have the opportunity to launch a Fake Out into the Lander slot, preventing it from moving, so Komodo will have a very easy chance of setting up a Clangor Soul Blaze.
Correct.
Or we may see the Lele switch back a Lele switching back in, so it's immune to the fake out as well, and it does not get affected by that Clangor Soul Blaze coming out from Komodo.
Most definitely. And do you think he'll opt for the Clangor Soul Blaze immediately?
I believe so, because one of the things about Komodo is that you wanted to get set up immediately. And here we go, the very long animation.
God, that's got to be one of my favorites. Yeah, there you go.
You guys can't see it right now, but I am dancing like
He
Komodo.
is getting his cha-cha on back here.
Yeah! All right, here we go. Clangor Soul Blaze is probably going to do a decent amount of damage. From this, we can find out what kind of Landers this is. Maybe if it's Z move, or maybe Assault Vested.
This is quite the long animation, but it has got to be one of the coolest that have been introduced in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
That is true. I agree with you on that one. Like in comparison to other ones, like Mimikyu, Mimikyu is
underwhelming.
Sort of cool. It's
Definitely.
it is very underwhelming.
Low tier. This
right.
one is super godlike.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful.
And let's just talk about how good it is. Yeah.
Getting a +1. We see a Z move coming out from Ashton's side. Groundium Z from Landorus. Very interesting. That's really good information for future games as well. Most likely going to go
and if
into
this picks up the KO that he needs on that Komodo.
That'll be very crucial. Getting set up for and then getting your Komodo just wiped off the field. Going out into the Komodo.
Don't get me wrong. Getting rid of Incineroar would be awesome, but this is just as great. If not, no, this is definitely better.
Yeah, because Komodo is such a threat when it is fully set up. So now Max is in quite a situation, going for the knockoff onto the Drifloon, trying to pick up a KO.
Unfortunately,
Missing
not
out.
hitting it with the item because it did ingest that Psychic Seed.
And Max's Tailwind also petering out, meaning that Ashton still has the speed advantage coming into this turn.
Bulu with the hooves coming back in to set up that
Tapu
grassy
Swulu,
train.
yeah!
Tapu
Swulu. All right.
He's just booling on Max's side.
All right, we're gonna have to see. Will Ashton let both of his Pokemon go down since they are both fairly low health? Because he does have, I believe, a Tapu Lele at full health in the back. We see Will-O-Wisp coming out from the Drifloon going into the Bulu, having its attack. That's gonna hurt the Bulu quite a bit. And the Rock Slide from the Landorus.
And not as much damage as you'd expect onto the Incineroar.
That tells us that this Landorus probably relies on that Z move to get a lot of its heavy hits out and is mainly focused on being very bulky and very defensive.
Most definitely.
And we do see that burn came in handy as both of the Pokemon lived that Tapu Bulu's Rock Slide.
Now with the Tailwind petering out and the rain stopping this followed up turn, both players at a very neutral setting.
And we see Ashton's Tailwind petering out as well.
It does seem like Max is in quite the good situation, though. With the Scarf Bulu, he can finish that knockout on Lando and then threaten that Lele as well.
That's true. Like, even though it's burned, he can fish for those Rock Slide flinches.
Most definitely.
Question is, will he leave his Incineroar in, or will he try to swap it out to preserve any Intimidates for the future, or just to resist any Fire-type hits from that Rotom in the back?
Definitely. Something to look out for.
All right.
Was the item revealed on this Lele yet?
It was not. It is confirmed not Scarf, so
correct.
It is possible it could be Life Orb or Z move. We see the Protect coming out from the Lele. We're gonna see what if Max started getting into that slot. We see the Rock Slide coming out from the Bulu, trying to get that flinch and dealing any extra chip damage, knocking out the Landorus. I think that's very good. Crit, I'm not really sure it mattered, but it may have.
Mattered. Oh, I'm just kidding. This could be good for Ashton. He gets to switch in. He gets to switch back in his Rotom Heat.
That's very,
threaten that
very
Bulu
true.
again without the rain.
That's very true. And seeing as how Max does have the Charizard in the back, which will actually power up this Rotom's Fire-type moves. All right. We'll just have to see how Max tries to maneuver around this. He does have the slight upper hand, but this game could still go either way.
Once we get more towards the end game, you can tell this burn will play a huge factor in who comes out on top.
That's very true, Alex. I do think that this Bulu still has a lot of use left in it, just because since it's Scarf, it'll be outspeeding everything, and he can try and get as many Rock Slide flinches as he can to try and win himself game one.
Definitely. And
we see
Rotom hangs on.
That was actually a critical hit on the Rotom Heat and the flinch on the Tapu Lele. overheat coming out from Rotom, going into the Tapu Bulu. Oh.
Not like this.
The suspense, it's killing me. What is it? Has it gone down? And the Tapu Bulu did go down. We get the knockoff Life Orb Lele. Very interesting, very interesting. Now we will have the Charizard switch in this turn. Now I think Charizard can very safely just go for a very safe Heat Wave and try and pick up the knockout.
Yeah, it looks like Max is sitting pretty. He might not want to test his fate with Heat Wave. We know how that move goes sometimes.
That is very true. I mean, same accuracy as Rock Slide and Muddy Water.
But he's sitting pretty now that this Lele is without a Life Orb.
Very true, very true. And this Charizard is at full HP. If Ashton can get any hit off into the Charizard, he can try and learn what kind of Charizard it is, if it's fast and offensive or just very bulky.
And that'll clean up this game 1 going to Max Simon.
Very interesting, very good game 1.
But we are by no means done yet. Going into this game 2, both players have a big opportunity to adapt and really just go about their whole strategy differently.
I'm very interested to see how Ashton Cox will readapt to game 2. Will he lead the same with Driftbloom Lele just to try and redirect the weather and get speed control, or will he go maybe something more offensive with, will we see the Metagross Lele, or will he just try to have Amoonguss out for any redirection?
Metagross just seems like such a dangerous call given the nature of Max's team. It's aggressive, and he's got the Gengar, Charizard, and Incineroar that threaten it so hard.
That's very true, but we did not see the Gengar at all last game. So
Right.
If he could actually set up a Tailwind, he could probably knock out anything that Max may have with his Metagross.
Even if he sets up his Rain again, he still gets threatened by Knockoff and Shadow Ball from both of those threats.
Very true, very true.
Max's comp did work out for him really well. I can't see him really squeezing Gengar into what he brought already.
That's very true, and also being weak to Earthquake from that Landers, who we now know is carrying Ground EMZ. So if he decides to perk, it'll still probably knock out that Gengar.
Definitely.
So
I think Landers is a huge part of winning this match against Max for Ashton.
That's very true. With all the Rock Slides and Earthquakes, the question is, will Max be able to set up the Komodo fast enough and not have it go down immediately after?
And he really, really has to preserve that Tectonic Rage, and he really has to duck and weave behind these protects to really get the most optimization out of it.
That's very true. Both these players are 4-0 right now. So it's very interesting to see how these players will do in this match.
Definitely.
All right. Game 2 starting out. Let's see how both players will lead.
I have a hunch they'll both bring the same mons, but I could be very wrong.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you, seeing as how Ashton was very, very close as well. He would probably, if he does bring the same mons, he'll probably change up the way he plays them as well.
Definitely.
So we do see the Lele Rotom lead coming up from Ashton. Probably want to throw any Tapu Bulu leads that he may have.
Ooh, and he does decide to bring in the Gengar this game.
Gengar coming out from Max.
Maybe after seeing that Rain Dance, he thought instead of just playing around this weather war, I'm going to bring in Gengar and threaten your Pokemon.
That's very true. Gengar being the fastest thing on the field right now, being able to immediately threaten that Lele with a Sludge Bomb knockout, or just getting a good amount of chip damage onto that Rotom Heat.
Definitely. Gengar obviously not being live in terrain unless he does target the Rotom.
That is also very true. Or he could opt for a very safe knockoff into the Tapu Lele just to get rid of its Life Orb.
Correct. Though I do predict he will try to protect that Lele slot or switch it out.
Oh, we see the Lele switching out. Here comes the Landers like a cat.
The Flinch Doggo is in the house.
The king of VGC. All right, we see Mega Gengar coming out.
And let's hope Ashton made the right switch, because now he is stuck with this Lando.
We see Protect coming out from Rotom, not wanting to get any chip damage from the Fake Out. It's coming. We see Fake Out coming out into the Rotom slot, and we see the Sludge Bomb probably going into the Landorus, hoping that that Lele would stay in.
For some decent damage.
Yeah, the question is, will Max double up into that Landorus, or will he try to preserve his Gengar, seeing as how Ashton can probably just fire off a Ground EMZ into that slot if he does decide to protect.
Even in Earthquake, I mean, given these circumstances, it's so safe and just so devastating for Max's team.
That is very, very true. We'll just have to see, because what could happen is we could see a Charizard switch in, who is immune to the ground type moves. Maybe just brought it just to keep on the pressure of fire type attacks.
Definitely. I do feel like... Oh, that's smart.
Oh, Protect coming out from Landorus. We'll just have to see how the
I
rest
do
of the
feel
turn
like his
plays out.
Lando is in range of a Gengar's Shadow Ball, so he really has to play it safe.
Yes, yes.
And he goes for the Icy Wind. Very good call, dropping the speed of Rotom Heat.
And we see a Electrium Z coming out from the Rotom Heat. Most likely, who do you think it's going to? My bet is it's probably trying to go into the Gengar.
Oh, definitely. He knows that is the threat.
Look how it opens its little
See-
oven door and shooting out that bolt of electricity.
Well- And Incineroar is at -1. He likes that being out on this field.
What an electrifying knockout with that Gigavolt Havoc. My gosh. And we see the knockoff going into the Rotom Heats.
Obviously not doing much because of that Electrium Z on the Rotom Heat.
All right, we do see Komodo
And the
coming
man
back
himself.
out.
About to cha-cha all over Ashton's team again.
And we do see that this Komodo is at full, so if Ashton wants to try and knock it out, he'll probably have to double up into it. And seeing as how his Lele is in the back, he'd have to switch it in and probably deal with any damage that the Incineroar may deal to it.
Definitely. This
Alright.
turn could decide how this rest of the game goes.
And we still do not know who Max has left in the back because so far we've only seen Incineroar, Gengar, and Komodo. The question is, does he have what he has in the back? Will it counter the rest of Ashton's team?
I have a good feeling it's Bulu just so he can play with these terrains again.
Makes a lot of sense. We do see Lele coming out, not going to take any damage if the Komodo decides to Z-move. And we do see the Tapu Bulu
And
coming
that's
out.
a very good switch on Max's part because now he threatens this Lele with Woodhammer.
That is very true. Grassy terrain coming out, boosting the power of grass type moves, and we see the Komodo Z coming out as well.
He's going to get his Dougie on. Everybody, fasten your seatbelts.
All right, it is time.
No, none of you can see, but Pat is getting down behind this
Alright.
mic right now.
Yeah. Here it comes, Clangorous Soul Blaze.
Get it, dude.
All right, this is probably going to deal a really good amount of damage to that Rotom who's already taken damage this turn. All right, jumping up into the air, going to launch those sonic jangling waves. All right, here it comes. We'll pick up the KO on the Rotom, and the Rotom hangs on with just a sliver of HP.
Very nice. Now, Ashton has to decide, will he risk keeping...
We see the overheat. Did he predict? He predicted the Bulu switch in.
That was godlike.
That was, oh my gosh. The Bulu getting taken out immediately. No Scarf Rock Slides for you, Bulu. That is very unfortunate.
And that was his answer to Lele, so this matchup just got that much harder.
Well, we do see Incineroar. It isn't going to be able to fire off any fake out since Lele is currently on the field right now, not being able to set up the psychic terrain.
Ashton still with his 4 Pokemon.
All right. Looks like Max is in a bit of a corner right here. We'll have to see if Komodo and Incineroar together can bring it back for him.
Now this Como is boosted, so he can live the dream right now.
All right. Question is, does this Komodo have anything to hit this Tapu Lele for super effective damage?
Yes.
If it's carrying something like Flash Cannon or Poison Jab to hit it.
The hardest thing about this matchup is the lander is sitting in the back.
That is very, very true. And we know it can't fire off any ground EMZs for any big damage since Rotom already uses Gigavolt Havoc this game. We see Protect coming out from Tapu Lele. Scouting to see what happens. We see double Protect from Ashton's side, not wanting to take any damage this turn at all. Clanging skills coming out from Komodo, not doing anything due to the double Protect.
Avoiding the stat drop.
And the knockoff going onto the Lele.
So I think he expected the landers to come in so he could fire off some damage with clanging skills, which was a good play on Max's part.
Very true, very true. Now we'll have to I believe Ashton is probably going to let his Rotom go down here just so he can bring in his next Pokemon without having taken any chip damage from this clanging scales. Oh, we actually see the Lele swap out, and Lander's coming back and intimidating that Incineroar.
Like a cat.
Like a cat.
dropping both of these Mons to -1.
And we see the double switch from Ashton's side, and we'll see his last Pokemon. Is it? It is the Metagross. Oh, that Metagross. If it is most likely carrying the Zen Headbutt to synergize with the Psychic Terrain from Tapu Lele, going to be doing a lot of damage to that Kamo, even at +1. We see Flare Blitz. Who's it going into? We'll find out. If this goes into the Metagross, that would be 2 great plays coming out this game.
Definitely. If this stream ever cooperates, let's see what's up.
Unfortunately, our connection seems to be a bit
A little shaky. Bear with us, folks. Thank you.
Oh, where did it go into?
Yeah.
Into the Landorus slot. Very interesting. Dealing quite a bit of damage to it on switching.
Even at the -1.
So we see Landorus switching out, preserving the Intimidate one more time, and Rotom coming out to sack off. All right, we'll see Metagross Mega Evolve this turn. The question is, who will it target? Because we do know.
What move is he launching into these slots?
That is true. See, Protect coming out from Metagross, protecting against any Flare Blitz that Incineroar may want to throw into its direction. And Clanging Scales coming out from Komo-o. Now the thing about Clanging Scales is that every time you use it, you get a -1 in defense. So maybe Ashton was waiting around so he could hit that Komo to ensure the knockout with his Metagross.
Yes. But he does have to use that a little more sparingly because these stat drops will not help him in this 2v3.
Very true, very true.
This Como has to be a virtuoso right now.
Now we will see the Lele coming out, putting up the Psychic Terrain to power up all Psychic moves and to pressure that Komo-o with its Fairy type attacks.
You know what? Power to you, Ashton. Lele does look like a Molly.
You know what?
Look at her.
I'm seeing it right now, actually. Very interesting, very interesting. All right.
Now, I could definitely see Incineroar just coming back in to tame this, or not Incineroar, Landorus coming back in to tame this Incineroar.
Well, this Incineroar does have attack drops right now, so Flare Blitz may not even knock out this Metagross, and the Metagross most likely outspeed, so we'll have the question, does it go for a Stomping Tantrum into the... Oh, it switches out this turn, actually, and Landorus coming in for another Intimidate.
Like a cat.
All right. All these Intimidates severely weakening Max's Incineroar, so won't hit
opts for the Focus Blast.
Focus Blast, going and picking up the knockout onto that Landorus. The question is, what will this Lele go for? Moon Blast. Oh, this is going to deal a lot of damage. Instant knockout onto the Komo-o. Man, this game, I believe this goes into Ashton's favor. This Incineroar is very weak. Oh, the critical hit, taking out the Tapu Lele. It's 1-1, right? It
is 1-1, but Stomping Tantrum is definitely threatening to this Incineroar.
And this Incineroar does have attack drops.
Unless he gets blessed with another crit.
It's all an RNGesus right now. We'll have to see how this turn plays out. Flare Blitz versus Stomping Tantrum. You guys can't see us right now, but I am on the edge of my seat. I cannot wait to see how...
Oh yeah, he's sweating.
Oh boy. All right. We are waiting. Seems Max is locked in. Iron Head,
So
no
he
Stomping
doesn't have
Tantrum. And we see the Iron Head flinch onto the Incineroar.
That 30% chance goes a long way, as we see with moves like Rock Slide all the time.
Now was Ashton fishing for this flinch, or did he just not have... And we do see he actually did have the Stomping Tantrum, meaning that he was fishing for that flinch the previous turn. And Ashton pulls out game 2.
Very nice. And I like that idea, preserving the Stomping Tantrum, because he might not have KO'd. And that flinch could have just stunned him even longer.
Yeah, and I don't think that Incineroar would have KO'd that Metagross, because it had so many attack drops from that Landorus, constantly switching in and out.
When your Lele just dies to a knockoff crit, you do not want to test fate any more than you have to.
Very true. He got really lucky with that Iron Head crit, but we'll just have to see how Game 3 will go for these two players.
I'm excited. Because now the leads are a complete toss-up. Both players know, like...
everything about the other person.
Well, yeah, they brought in so many new cards that last game that really changed how their leads in the first game influenced their decisions.
Very true, very true. I'm not entirely sure we'll be seeing a Moongus this turn. I think Ashton may try to go with a very similar forward that he played with last game, seeing as how they maneuvered him very well to victory.
Definitely.
All right, the question is, how will Max try to get the W in this situation?
I think maybe he'll give Drifloon another chance in this game 3.
Yeah, especially with all the speed control, you want to get all of that out right in the beginning of the game, so you don't stop your own momentum.
But like I said, Ashton's most important piece is this Landorus, if you couldn't tell, because he just walls so much of that team, especially once they get the Gengar under control.
Very true, and Intimidate playing a very crucial part in shutting down that Incineroar and Tapu Bulu.
Now that Max knows this Electrium Z is live and Rotom can fire off that Z move, he'll have to play around that a little bit more because it does threaten a lot of his Pokemon.
Very true, very true.
And I don't think it's enough to force him to bring in Togedemaru, just based on the nature of their teams. So here we go, entering this game 3, 1-1, Ashton Cox and Max Simon fighting it out to become 5-0 going into round 6.
All right, let's see how both trainers lead. We see Incineroar Charizard coming out from Max, wanting to set up the Sun, seeing as how well that worked in game 1. And we see Ashton lead with Drifblim Lele, so very similar leads to game 1.
This will be interesting.
We see
They really just have to watch this Incineroar in these early turns.
Now the question is, will Max Mega Evolve this turn, expecting the he could just like keep it as a regular Charizard, expecting that Drifblim to go for a Rain Dance.
Definitely. I'm totally sure Max is going to stun that Drifblim slot with Fake Out, despite the terrain, because it is a flying type, to really just get his strategy rolling with Charizard.
Very true, very true. Now the question is, will Max have the Kamo in the back, seeing as how...
If he does have Gengar in the rear just because, that could be super interesting.
That is very true.
Just given by the fact that he's running dual Mega, it's not likely.
That's true. So we'll just have to see how this turn plays out. Max already locking in his decision. We'll see Charizard Mega Evolving this turn. Probably want to get that special defense buff that comes from Mega Evolving into Charizard Y. And we see the Drought coming out from Charizard. The question is, will this Drifblim go for the Rain Dance or Tailwind this turn? All right. We see Tailwind coming out from Ashton's side.
Interesting.
Prioritizing speed control over weather control in this situation. And Heat Wave coming out from Charizard, immediately going on the offensive.
Big. Oh no!
Oh, the miss.
Because he can't knock out Drifblim and prevent the rain now.
Oh, Ashton is...
That miss was huge.
Man, if he had not missed, I believe Max would have been in a really impeccable position to start getting ahead in this game.
Hey, Ashton's like, you got that crit last game? I'm dodging this Heat Wave. Check me out.
Very true. Now that he has the Tailwind up, this Life Orb Blade can start dealing a lot of damage to this Charizard with its Psychics and Psychic terrain. Now the question is, will this Drifblim go for a Rain Dance to erase the Sun, or will it just go on the offensive and try to help pick up the KO on the Charizard?
Definitely.
We see Charizard switching out, wanting to preserve the weather and possible Tailwind for later in the game, and the Tapu Bulu coming out to set up the grassy terrain.
Once again, threatening this Lele with Woodhammer.
And we see the Shadow Ball, Drifblim going on the offensive, going straight into the Tapu Bulu, trying to... and the Moonblast coming out from Lele into the Bulu, trying to eliminate that Charizard to ensure that there is no speed control on Max's side.
Definitely. And it will come down to this fourth Pokemon.
And Knockoff coming out onto the Lele, getting rid of that Life Orb. And
I almost thought it was a crit again, not gonna lie.
Oh, I was like, oh, that was a lot of damage. Now we'll have to see, with the grassy terrain slowly healing back all the Pokemon that are grounded right now. We'll just have to see how to see if Charizard can live this upcoming hit from Drifloon and Lele.
I'd imagine he's going to protect to stall out Tailwind a little bit longer.
Very true. He may try to pick up a kill with Incineroar, most likely onto the Lele, since Drifloon isn't entirely known for being heavily offensive, as most of the investment goes into HP and speed.
I could see Ashton totally making that read and doubling up into the Incineroar.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Ashton to go ahead and predict that and try and get rid of Incineroar immediately. We see Rain Dance coming out from Drifblim, taking away the Sun, weakening both Incineroar and Charizard's Fire-type attacks. And Psychic coming out from Tapu Lele into the Charizard slot.
Without terrain, he should hang in there, given his Life Orb's gone too.
No Tailwind from Max, like going straight for the Heat Wave.
And if he swung with Incineroar, he's actually in a pretty good position once again.
Flare Blitz, double fire type attacks, and this will get the double knockout on Ashton's side. All right.
Welcome back, stream.
Hello. So we'll have to see what Ashton has in the back, waiting for Max. Seeing as how it is currently 3-2 right now, we do see high hopes of Rotom returning, being able to pressure with its electric type attacks onto the Charizard, and like a cat, returning again with its Intimidate to weaken the Incineroar.
Very nice, and like I said, this Incineroar, given the 2-3 Pokemon advantage, this Incineroar has such a good matchup against these Pokemon that it can really do a damper.
Very true. All what Max has to do is swap it out and bring it back in to get a -1 onto that lander, so it won't be hitting as hard with any rock slides or earthquakes. All right, we will. Now the question is, will Charizard protect, fearing an Electrium Z coming out from the Rotom? We do see Landers protecting, not just wanting to scout out what Max will do. We see Charizard protect as well.
And we may see this Z move come out once again.
Just a regular Thunderbolt coming out onto the Incineroar slot, predicting the Charizard protect.
That is baby damage.
And we see the knockoff going into the Landorus. Now this means that Ashton can freely fire off a Electrium Z or a Groundium Z into whoever he wants.
But he does have to be careful because this Tailwind did peter out. So he will not be outspeeding the Charizard anymore.
That is a very important
He revealed
thing.
he has a Tech Rage Lando. It's not Scarfed, so...
The question is, what does Ashton find more threatening in this situation? Does he want to eliminate this Incineroar right now so it can't intimidate him in the future, or does he want to get rid of Charizard so it cannot set up any more Tailwinds?
Let's find out once they lock into these moves.
All right. We see the ally switch coming out from the Rotom.
Ooh.
Very interesting. And we see Tailwind coming out from Charizard, setting up whoever's in the back for any speed for a speed advantage. Rock Slide. Incineroar.
No way!
Miss! No, that is insane. And we see the Flare Blitz coming out into... And we do see the Flare Blitz going into the Rotom.
That Tailwind could be really good, actually. And maybe that Rock Slide miss wasn't that bad, because if he has Como in the back, that could have went rampant under this Tailwind. Now he can't freely switch in his Como if that is what he brought in the rear.
That's very true, but by missing that Rock Slide, he's missing out on a good amount of chip damage onto that Incineroar.
Most definitely.
So we'll just have to see if Ashton can get...
Both of his Z moves are live.
That's very true. He has pressure with both Electrium Z and Groundium Z as well. We see Landers protect, not wanting to take any damage.
Stalling out this Tailwind.
And the Air Slash coming out from Charizard into the Landers slot. So as the knockoff, doubling into the Landers, that means, and the Thunderbolt coming out from Rotom, straight into the Charizard.
That should end Charizard.
And Charizard goes down. Now it is 2-2. Now, the question is, what does Max have in the back? Oh.
Now, I have no doubt that it's Como, and that is why he set up this Tailwind, because otherwise he would have been outspeeding the two Pokemon with Charizard anyway.
And we do see the grassy terrain disappear, meaning that Landers' Earthquakes are no longer weakened. So that means that he could probably freely go for an Earthquake and maybe a Gigavolt Havoc if he really wants to try and eliminate the Incineroar. Or he could double up into the Komodo.
These will be a decisive last turns.
All right. Alex. I can't wait to see how this will turn out for this match. You see Rotom with his little crab hands being all jolly, very jittery.
I'm holding on to the edge of my seat right now.
All right, we see Ally Switch coming out trying to protect his Landorus.
I think he's going for the Clangorous Soul Blaze.
We see Clangorous Soul Blaze coming out from Max when they deal good damage and get those buffs immediately so he can try and live whatever hit this Landorus may throw into.
Now, I don't know about that, because without using the Z move, if Komodo lives this Quake, if that's what we're assuming is the move, he can just keep pressing Clanging Scales from there and win the game.
That is very true. Seeing as how Clanging Scales is a very powerful Dragon type move that will target both of the opponent's Pokemon, it is very, very threatening, especially in when you don't have anything like Wyguard to protect yourself. And we see Clangorous Soul Blaze dealing a lot of damage to Ashton's side of the field.
Let's see how Ashton deals with this.
And we see Komo get its buffs, and Incineroar going for the knockoff onto the Rotom. No more ally switches for Ashton.
No more high hopes.
All right, I think Ashton is
Stream, please!
All right, we see Tectonic Rage coming out from Ashton. Now we'll have to see, will this go into most likely into the Komo slot, trying to get rid of it and deal as much damage.
It has to finish Komo first.
Going into Komo, we'll see how much damage this will do. Seeing as how it is at +1 defense from that Clangorous Soul Blaze earlier in this turn. Dealing to about 75, we see both players handshake, and that, I believe that is game.
That is a 2-0 for Max Simon, his first time ever being on stream. He made Mom proud.
Yeah, this was a very, very intense match. Went down to game 3. Very, very nice from both sides as well. Very, very close game. All right.
And we see them talking it out, smiling, and that's what Pokemon's all about, is just learning from your mistakes and having a good time with your opponents.
Very true. Just making new friends here at Regionals is one of the highlights of these kind of events.
Definitely.
All right.
Good for Max.
Great job to Max.
We should be getting him in here pretty soon for an interview, talk about some of these choices.
All right.
Decisions he made.
Don't wait. In just a couple minutes, you'll have Max Simon here being interviewed about this previous match. So stay tuned.
All right, we are back with Max Simon, the winner of round 5. Max, what was your first game on stream like?
I don't really remember much about it.
Yeah?
I was really just in the moment.
Yeah.
But I was hoping he would lead Lele Blimp. I wanted to scout for the Scarf.
Yeah.
So even though I have Scarf on my woo-woo, Lele, even after Scarf, is faster. So I wanted to figure out if it was Scarf immediately.
Definitely.
Because that's really important in my matchup versus Lele, especially Lele Blimp.
And so you're coming out of seniors this year in Masters now, right?
No, I just look kind of small. I've actually been in Masters since 2016.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
And you dethroned the behemoth himself.
Yeah.
Just anyone you want to give shout-outs to? You want the audience to know anything about you and your playstyle?
So I like to play aggressive usually.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be a little more conservative. But especially against big names like Ashton, you really have to make those top tier plays, and you can't just play safely and make the obvious play.
Definitely.
You know, that's how I kind of went around with Game 3.
Okay.
But if I had to thank anyone so far, it would be my dad. We actually flew here at 3 a.m. From Chicago, and then we drove here. There's a Discord I'm on, VGC Discord.
They help you build your team and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Man,
my dad, my family.
You gotta be tired from all the traveling.
Oh my god, I am.
Yeah?
Eliza's she's a friend of mine. We met at Dallas. She's been cheering me on.
Nice,
she's
dude.
been doing pretty well too, so.
Well, give me a handshake. I look forward to seeing you in the later rounds.
Thank you.
Very good job. And we can wrap this up. We will be moving into round 6 very soon. Thank you guys. Stay tuned.